Hi Joseph, how are you tonight?
I'm very well, thank you. Just had a very nice, pleasant, easy peasy flight in. And a nice few little nice Romanian beers. Yeah, I'm perfect, thank you.
We have played last weekend in Dublin with them in Lazarus with Maceo Plex and Licorice at the Rebel Rave party held at Tivoli Theatre. What was the party ravers' feedback?
What was the party ravers for? But they seem to be having a good time. I think the thing is with those rebel raves is that any time that you get people like Damien and Maceo Plex and Lee Curtis in the same room, it's always going to go off. I think that's why the rebel raves have just been so amazing over the last 12 or 14 months. They've been great. So it was really cool, man. It was great. It was an old theatre. They hadn't done a party in that theatre for about 3 years, so it was really cool for us to go and just sort of reintroduce people to that particular venue. And they really looked after us. Dublin's an amazing city. It's really, really pretty. And yeah, our hosts were amazing. They fed us and watered us really well. So it was great, man. It was perfect.
Okay. A lot of successful releases. I believe that one important part of your career are also numerous gigs at Fabric and the Wheel of series in Space Ibiza that drew a bit of attention.
Yeah, I think I've been quite fortunate in the fact that I've been able to play at places like Fabric, fairly frequently, and obviously my We Love residency this summer has been amazing. So, yeah, I think doing shows like that are always really important because it means that you get to play to a lot of people that may, not usually hear you, because it's different to go and doing a headlining gig where people are there kind of just to see you. Going to do We Love in particular. Playing with people like Laurent Garnier and James Sabila and Steve Lawler and Aphex Twin, was an amazing eye opener. It's a bit tricky, to be honest, because We Love is a club that, because it's obviously just for that one moment, it's just for the summer. It doesn't kind of work like a normal nightclub in the fact of, it's not necessarily a warm-up time. There's not necessarily peak time. It's like people just go there and because they're on holiday. They just want to, just have it right off. So. Yeah, We Love's been amazing. It's been an amazing experience, and obviously Fabric that just feels like my home because of obviously my relationship with Craig and Judy and Keith and those guys. So yeah, I love doing those things, man.
What do you know about Romanian clubbing scene?
Other than the obvious, other than like Sunwaves and obviously the Ravesh and Medusa of this world. There's a few of my friends actually that have been playing here recently. There's a gear club and the Crystal Club and places like that they've always said to me have been really, really cool. But I think more recently the thing which has sort of been punching me in the face is this Christy Conti guy he was in town recently and he was just an amazing guy but an amazing DJ, and like all his music's like really jazzy and really just sounds a bit silly, it sounds really musical. So he's someone I think that, has certainly made an effect on me. But I think, to be honest with you, I say you lot are kind of just, you're killing it now. I think you could just do parties that are just billed as Romania parties because it doesn't really matter who's going to play there. I think that you guys just have this thing about just vibe and just about playing records in the right order at the right time, which is to me the most important thing.
Aside from being involved in We Love, last year you had a number big of releases on labels like Wolf Lamb, Vitalik, as well as your own imprint with Craig Richards, First of Finger, and we saw a kick starting in 2011 with your Sunrise EP on I'm Fine, and many more remixes. Does your release and jig schedule continue to be as good?
Does it continue to be as good? I'm not quite sure it continues to be as good. I don't know how you measure good or not, but the Wolf and Lamb thing and particularly the thing that Craig and I do together, the Fist or Finger, which is just our little label. Again, going back to my relationship with Fabric, that's kind of how that whole thing kind of happened. I'm trying to concentrate now on actually writing more original material because. I've done for me anyway. I've done quite a lot of remixes this year, which is great. But at the end of the day, I've got so much original stuff that's just about me, because I'm obviously quite selfish. It's just like I've got a lot of stuff now, which is now going to start coming out towards the end of the year. So yeah, my schedule in terms of going out and touring and stuff is I'm not quite sure if it's going to be as good. I don't know how you measure that, but I'm still going to be as busy as I was this year. But the end of this year and then into 2012, there's going to be a lot of new, just Jozif material, original stuff. So I've just done an EP which is called Twilight, and I did that with a vocalist called Terry Walker, who's massive, and it was really cool because I got to sit down and write with her as opposed to just sitting in the studio on my own and just going, this is how I think this should be. You know, we went and we sat in the studio and we wrote the music together, which was amazing. So I've done that, and then there's an EP that I've done for the Americans, for the guys in Culprit, who are like my best friends. They're amazing. So I've done an EP for them, and then there's a little thing that I've done literally in the last 2 days, which I did for a label called Life and Death, and it's like a various artist thing. So it's me, Taylor Vass, Vision Quest, and Lee Foss. So we've all sort of like pitched in these little ideas to do like a various artist thing. So next year, I think my concentration, my thing is just to be about, you know, putting more original material out, but at the same time still doing what I love doing, which is going and playing records to people.
Okay. Joseph, tell us about a Shonky remix, please. What's the secret of the track? Secret.
What's the secret of it?
Yeah.
Is there a secret about that track? I don't know. There is a secret about it. I don't know really. It's really sweet. That's one of those records that I very rarely have this happen to me. It's one of those records that happened in like 3 or 4 hours. What tends to happen with me is people send me remixes and they say, look, you know, do you want to do it? And I never listen to the original record because I just don't. And then I just listen to the parts and I kind of think, yeah, do you know, there's something here that I can work with and I can do something with that. But with this Shonky remix, it's because I'd already had the record. It was actually quite painful because Andre had already sent me the record. I'd already played the original and it was fucking brilliant. So it's one of those times, a bit like, yeah, do you know what? I really want to remix this record, but the original was so good. But it was quite strange because it's one of those times where it happened for me really, really quickly. I just sat down, had the parts, and then suddenly that bass line came to me straight away. So it was kind of like that bass line, that little stringy bit, kind of just, yeah. I'm not sure if there's a secret to it though, because it's not rocket surgery, you know what I mean? It seems to work though, and I really love it, so yeah. I don't know if that answers your question or not. The secret is moon dust.
Okay. That's very nice. Okay. So, did production come easily to you? I read in a previous interview that your dad has musically educated you in so many ways while you were a teenager.
Yeah. I mean, my father was a professional drummer his whole life, so he obviously educated me from a musical standpoint, not necessarily from a technical standpoint, because he's a professional musician and I'm obviously not a trained proper musician. But yeah, from a musical standpoint, for sure, both him and my mother played me and my brothers so many records when we were kids that definitely influenced me and trained me, if that's the right word. I think that's kind of like where my musical vibe comes from, or where my musical ethos is from all those records that my parents played me as a kid. No, I mean I absolutely adore loads of records that probably someone like me shouldn't actually really adore. So yeah, my parents were a massive influence on me for sure, because you know they just played me so much amazing music. So for that I'll be eternally grateful for that for eternity.
Okay. Who are your favorite artists?
It depends in what context you mean that by, because for me, my favourite artists, I kind of break them up, is kind of like when it comes to DJ world stuff, you know, I obviously adore everything that Bruno Pronsato does. I might not necessarily play every single one of his records, but just looking at it from a musical standpoint, I love everything that he does, and obviously his public lover thing that he does with his missus is ace. Anything that Jeff K has a hand in, and Matthew Johnson is cool, but yeah, my favourite artists are kind of blurred between like my DJ stuff, which is those guys I just said, or I'm mad in love with people like Feist, because to me her music and the way that she records her music is fucking mind-blowing. As is even like now, and it's probably not a cool thing to say, but Adele, I listened to that album that had so many different producers in it. It's fucking crazy, but also you can go even further than that and go look at Fela Kuti, or it's really weird because when I DJ, I look at my DJing as, surprisingly, as DJing. I don't listen to a huge amount of electronic music at home. I tend to listen to stuff like that, and obviously like Barbra Streisand and the Bee Gees, man, they've just produced so many amazing records. So to have a favourite is very, very difficult to say. Who's your favourite?
You are.
Good. That's a really good answer.
Okay. Speaking of tonight, is it gonna be a rave party or
what? I think it definitely should be a rave up. Every time I come here, we have a really, really good time. I did the Recollective Festival a couple of months ago, which was at a place which was either the biggest or the heaviest place on the planet or something ridiculous. So I think we should definitely have a rave up. It'd be silly not to. Don't you think we should have a rave up?
Yeah.
Woman has spoken.